What's up? Nobody's watching yet, so I'm going to do something. That was in the picture, and that hurt. That was in the picture, and that was bothering me. So once you get on, let me know if you just saw me embarrass myself, and then let me know if you can see and hear me, please. We've already done all the sharing and emailing, so everybody that we can alert has been alerted. Matthew says, yes, can hear and see. Awesome. Thanks for showing up, Matthew. Hope you're doing well. We got Stark7010 says, what's up, Mr. Legiit? Not much. What's up with you, Stark710? You got something Wade says, Coco. Okay. Simo says, hey, Chris. Hey, Simo. Hope you're doing well, buddy. MD says, hey, how are you from Bangladesh? I'm doing well. How are you from Myrtle Beach? Hope you're doing well. Not gonna lie, guys, I'm in a little bit of pain from when I just ran into my desk there. So, but I hope it provided you with at least a good laugh. Because that's really the goal, is entertainment. Jim says, hi, Chris. Hey, Jim. Hey, is Joseph with you today? If so, hello, Joseph. One more thing to do here. MD says, I see you live, sir. You don't have to call me sir, but I appreciate that. And I'm good. I'm glad it's working okay. Brian says, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Brian. Always a pleasure. Charlene says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Charlene. I hope you're doing well. Alan Tevy says, the North Carolina judge gives you an 8.5. Well, first of all, all right, let me answer this. RL says, what's up with all the clickbait / spam titles? First of all, that's not spam. That's not what spam means. That's not what spam is, and so on. Clickbait is actually, it's a little bit clickbait because it encourages clickbait, but it's also, everything I've said is absolutely true. So, and today it was just asking a question. So I get that annoys some people, but it's not going to change until it stops working. So I'm sorry if it bothers you. I really am. I'm not trying to be sarcastic or facetious or whatever, but it's what works. And it's how I get exposure to the most amount of people. And that's my goal, is to help and reach as many people as possible. So, I mean, the numbers just do not lie. So I'm sorry if that upsets you. I really am. Like, I get why it's annoying, but it's also not nearly as bad as I've been taught how to do. So, and it's definitely not spam. Spam is unsolicited messages repeatedly. Stark says, what's up with Superstar SEO? What are the updates? Not sure what updates you're asking about. Edward Collin Waves. Hey, what's up, Edward? In 2011, I was paying 2,000 pounds GBP. I guess that means pounds to rank and rent people. I know part of their model was AdWords, but it still seemed to me that they were doing well. Why was it a bad idea from their point of view? We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. We'll get into the whole topic of today in a few minutes once a few more people get on. Hey, Chris and all. Hey, Craig, always a pleasure. Glad to see you, buddy. I got your email and I replied back to it, by the way. Tomislav says, hello, ladies and gents. That doesn't include, what about Jim? Aren't you going to say hello to him? First dad joke out of the way. James says, good morning, Chris. Good morning, James. RL says, just giving you a bit of grief is all. You always provide good value in these videos. Sometimes it's just hard to figure out what the topic will be about. In this case, it isn't. No, I mean, well, thank you, first of all, for giving me grief. I appreciate that. I'm seriously, it makes me realize that it is just what it is. But I do get why clickbait annoys people. But I try to balance it a little bit between what works and, and not doing whatever, and not being annoying, for lack of a better term. That's actually good feedback that it's hard to tell what it's about too. And to be fair, these live streams are really not about anything in particular. The reason I started adding a topic is I found that, once again, more people show up if I do that as opposed to just saying the water cooler on date, So that's why I did that. And today I came up with this one because I've been getting asked about it quite a bit, even more than usual. And it's just figured, which means that there's interest. So we'll talk about it. And anything I say is always opinion, even when it's fact, if that makes sense. So don't take anything I say seriously. Investigate for yourself. Look at the data. Do your own research. Hopefully I find it intriguing and I get somebody thinking, but ultimately I'm just some dude, So Thomas Love says, all right. Hello, Jim. Sorry, didn't see you were here. That's all right. He gets that a lot. Craig says, I don't feel like your titles are clickbait. We discussed your point of view about the topics. Well, thank you. They're a little bit clickbait, though. Let's be honest. But I do try to at least make sure that the topic is addressed. I try to be put something that's outrageous, but at the same time, not wrong, or at least not a lie, and then address it, So thank you for that. It's interesting to see the different takes on it, Philip says, "Doe." He must have seen me run into the desk. Actually, I'm bleeding. Actually, wow. See, this is what I literally give you guys my blood, sweat, and tears. Jim frowns. That's okay. Seriously, you didn't answer me when I asked if Joseph was there. If so, hey Joseph, I actually like you a lot better than Jim. Francis says, hello, boss. Untried the diggity rank and rent for 1 month on one of my URL article, and my position jumped from 54th and 20 to 22nd and stopped the service because it's expensive and need cheaper options. I don't really know what that is. I mean, I know who Matt Diggity is, obviously, but I don't know what his rank and rep is. So you'd have to give me some information on that for me to be able to answer you properly. I don't really follow, and I don't mean this to be pompous or anything, but I don't really follow what a lot of other SEOs are doing, unfortunately. I probably should. Alan says, in your humble, and he has humble in quotes, opinion, what was the biggest factor that the most recent core update addressed? It's still a little bit too early to say. It's not completely rolled out yet, but the things that I'm seeing the most are that it is a lot of people that say they have complete white hat sites that they've never done any link building and they've just put out great content that are seeing they took a tumble. It's almost like linking is a ranking factor, despite what the SEO hipsters say. And the other one is I'm seeing, and again, I don't have enough data to make these conclusions on my own, but it's just from what I've seen in the chatter I've seen, is that a lot of alternative health sites have been affected. So stuff like vitamin therapy and CBD and seriously, oh well. Francis says, what is your Legiit service for backlinks that works, sir? I'm on a budget. There's lots of different things. What kind of links are you looking for? You know what I mean? Like where are you in your campaign? Things like that. I'd have to know more information. Jim says he's not here yet. He's currently outside cutting the grass. Aaron says, yo, and wow. What's up, Aaron? Haven't seen you in quite a while. Glad you could join. MK says, hey, Chris, your passion always motivates me. You always have the best ideas. Well, I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate the compliment, and I'm glad that you benefit something from it. Yeah, that's all I can really say. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Jim says, hey, it's Aaron Phillips. I'm waiting for my steak. That feels like an inside joke. Thomas Lab says, I love the idea of rank and rent. Any tactic that works well now? I'm planning on having around 10 local service websites in low competition locations, which I should try renting for anywhere from 200 to 500 USD, but still a long way to finish the line. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Brandon. I'm laughing because Brandon is a conversation I had with Brandon not long ago is one of the reasons that I got the idea for this topic today. Was you definitely need lots of cash and time before any ROI for the R&R business model. Absolutely, yes, that's true. Aaron says, thanks. Thank you, Aaron. How much of a factor, and this is from Alan, who's commenting in another group, how much of a factor do you think with respect to the core update address mobile first and mobile page speeds? I don't have any evidence that supports that. Brandon says, thought so. Awesome, man. Yeah, and it's not the only reason, but it definitely was one of the pieces that led to this. Patrick says, me too. I wish I could cook you, Chris, Jeff, and Scott a steak, and if you guys ever came to OKC, I'm totally holding you to that. I don't know why I would ever, no offense, I don't know why I would ever come to OKC, but yeah. All right, so let's get into it. The topic I chose for today was rank and rent, because I get asked a lot of questions about it. And I think the reason that it's gotten so pervasive, I don't know if that's the right word, but why it's such a popular topic in SEO goes back a few years to SourceWave, because Alex Becker pushed that as like his way of introducing people into SEO for a long time. And what he was doing was using a mass page builder that would build, thousands of pages, and then some of them would rank, and then you would rent them, and then you'd use another plugin to overlay it, and you rent them out. And it was easy. It was a good way to draw people into SEO because it was a very easy way to rank. And now it's very popular too. And I don't really know why. Again, anything I say is my opinion. As long as one person can make something work, anyone can make it work. So there's nothing that's ever dead. So let's get that out of the way first of all. But I am not a fan of the model because, as Brandon said, it takes a lot of money and a lot of time before you can actually get it. You can actually rent the site and start making money. Whereas with client SEO, you can start making money after one phone call. You can make a call or an email or however it is you do your outreach, and all of a sudden, and now you have a few $1,000 in your pocket, bank account, whatever. And then, but with rank and rent, you have to take the time to rank the site, invest the money, and then hope that you can find somebody for it. Now, you're probably wise to do your outreach first, or at least do some kind of market research to find if there's a market for it, and then you can sell it. But that's not what most SEOs do. They just create and rank the sites, and they go for it. So to me, the downsides to it there's a few. The first is that, like I said, you have to invest your money and your time ahead of time and before you can actually start getting paid. I don't know about you, but I'm not in the business of working for free. It takes time. You still have to sell it. Those Lightbox plugins don't work worth a crap, in my opinion, at least not. And if there are some that do, then that's great. But I haven't found one that's been reliable in how many years I've been at this? 5, 6 years now, 7 years. That's been reliable in that amount of time. And it's gimmicky. So like, how can I explain it? To me, it's been presented as it's a really easy way to sell to people. That wasn't my experience when I sold it. Was that they don't understand how you can cloak their site, or whatever word you want to call it. It's not really cloaking, but whatever way you want to explain it, they don't understand it a lot. And maybe I just never came up with a good sales angle, but in my opinion, it's not the best business model, because and also, if you want to get GMB, you got to do fake Google My Business, which I don't morally have a problem with, but I do have a problem with something that is so against terms of service that there's no argument you can win if they catch you. You spend all this time getting it to rank and they shut it down. So that those are, in my opinion, those are the downsides. And to me, that makes it not worth the effort. I would much rather spend my time working with a quote unquote real business and, getting paid right away. Now, there are some advantages to it. The first is that if you do the mass page version of it, then you get a lot of rankings that you can sell, and you own the asset. So if you do it, if you get it ranked, you now have a thing where if you get fired by one client, you can switch it over to another one, at the flick of a switch. You can monetize it your own way if you wanted to just sell the leads that come through it. You do that. It also serves as, if you want to get clients as well as you rank around, it also serves as proof that you know how to rank things. So there are ways that it works. And again, it's all about preference. For me, though, I think that it's a horrible business plan and not a great one long term. And I think it brings a lot of people into SEO. I think it makes it easy to sell SEO training, but there's a reason that we do cover it in Superstar SEO Academy, located at superstarseo.com/monthly, but it's not a big piece of what we teach. And it's because I don't think that it's the best business model. I much prefer client or affiliate marketing. Again, just my preference. Those are, in my opinion, the ups and the downs. So let me go back and answer some of the questions we had already, and then we'll answer anything else. Where is it? Philip had asked, in 2011, I was paying £2,000 a month to rank and rent people. I knew two rank, so you were doing rank and rent. I knew part of their model was AdWords, but it seemed to me they were doing well. Why was it a bad idea from their point of view? It's not necessarily a bad idea. It was obviously working for them if you were paying them $2,000 a month. So, I mean, good for them. They made it work. I'm just telling you what I think of it. And if the thing there is that sounds smart is that they were doing AdWords as well. So it sounds like they were doing lead gen in addition to rank and rent. So which they're very similar, but not exactly the same. So, but no, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. That sounds like an awful lot. I'd be curious to know, and I'm not saying that you were or you weren't, I'd be curious to know if you thought you got an ROI from it, And Thomas Lott had a question. Let me see if I can find that. Thomas Lott says, I love the idea of rank and rent. Any tactic that works well now? Excuse me. I'm planning on having around 10 local service websites in low competition locations, which I could try renting anywhere from $200 to $500 USD, but still looking a long way to the finish line. So you kind of answered your own question and you addressed one of my problems with the model. My problem with it is that it's a long way to the finish line. If you're going to rank 10 sites, that's a lot of work. That's going to require some time investment and some financial investment before you ever see a nickel in pay. And then my advice to you based on this question would be, have you taken the time or have you done the research to find out if the niches that you want to create sites for low competition keywords are willing to pay you $200 to $500 a month? I would do that before I spent any time getting the sites ready, because you may get get these sites ready and nobody wants to pay for it. So look into that. See if that's a thing that's possible. If it is, then bam, then it's a good model and you can go for it if you're prepared to spend the amount of money and time it's going to take to rank 10 sites and then go out and sell them. So it's not bad at all. It's just, depends on everybody's taste. I feel like I'm being a politician and not just committing to, I think it sucks, but that's true. I don't necessarily think it sucks. Aaron says, okay, first question. Selling techniques now after, and I don't want to say that on the channel because I've heard that the channels get demonetized for just mentioning it. After the thing that has had its way with the economy, how do we sell without being insensitive to what's going on? I mean, you have to take it on a case-by-case basis, I think, but you need to just, I wouldn't be tone deaf, but I wouldn't change my pitch too much. The only thing I would really change would be, I might be more open to deals and things that I wouldn't have in the past. So whether that means a little bit lower price or a different thing, a different service that I might offer, or doing like one-offs or things like that, I would be much more willing to customize my offer to fit the current situation, both with the world and the individual client. And you're going to have to be, I think that I've been reading this book about figuring out your strengths. If one of your strengths is being empathetic and understanding each individual that you talk to, I think that can become much more useful than it normally is, because you can figure out how it's affected them, what their situation is, and how you can solve their problem without causing them more pain. So I hope that makes sense. Aaron Phillips, I'll hold you to that. Aaron says, bet. Shero says, you're great, man. I love you, Kristen Moore. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Legit changed my lifestyle. That I really appreciate. I mean, I appreciate both, but that makes me very happy that, because, you know, ultimately, I mean, Legit's a business, sure, but I could go into more profitable businesses. I go into Legit because freelancing changed my life, and I want to be able to give other people that same option. So I'm glad that it's been able to help you a lot. That makes me very happy. And I am, of course, going to say that. So one moment while I send that over to the success file. That sounds like a TV show from the 90s, the Success Files. Okay, boomer. Jim says, too many people get impatient with ranking rent too. It's a solid side hustle if you want to do it the right way over a longer time, like anything else. If you're willing to put in the work and not take shortcuts and be patient and consistent, it works. Yeah, it does. I don't like it as a primary business model unless you have capital up, like if you have cash flow up front, you know, and you don't necessarily need money right now. But I don't like it as a primary business model because it's so long between action and result. I run a moving company. Yes, it was Legiit. Okay, that's kind of the same, but not exactly. I got ROI. Good. Then there's literally nothing wrong with it from either your or their perspective. Lee said, would some of the ranking rent shortcut techniques be effective in making Google food pages for local neighborhood search term? Google food. I don't know. How do you reach out to real businesses offering them leads? That's not as easy as you would think. You know, I used to do fairly well when I was renting videos, but it's not as easy as you think. Because I guess they get approached by people selling leads all the time, thanks to, you know, everybody and their brother being a lead generation agency. But an approach I found a little bit of success with was accidentally putting their information in and letting the leads come to them for a while. And then, you know, saying, I've been sending you a few leads. Have they been working out for you? And then kind of, you know, going into it from there. That's one good approach. What you're not going to have success with is, I can generate you XYZ leads per month or whatever, you know, because everybody and their brother says that. I've got some of those today, as a matter of fact. So you got to work on your sales angle. But I think a good one is, it's a little gimmicky, but to just, if you pick this business as one you want to send it to and you have a lead gen source already, just send the leads to them for a while without even telling them. And then you call them and ask them, I've been wondering if you've been getting X amount of leads. And if so, would you like that to continue? Or should I go over here to your competitor who will want them? But, you know, less obnoxious than that. Philip says, Tomislav, do lead gen for dentists or lawyers? If Scott were on, I would be interested to hear his take on that, since he knows dentists really well. I got my first new website client in about a month this morning. Awesome. Congratulations, Aaron. Glad to see you still hanging in there and doing well with it. Web design is actually doing very, very well right now, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe I know why, because it's just like, I feel like I'm doing something. But anyway, congratulations. I got off you. Jim says, Aaron Phillips, for me, I say don't ignore it, but don't be all touchy-feely either. Growing and scaling a business doesn't always leave room for feelings. You do have to be aware of people's feelings in situations, but you can't shy away from knowing that if your product or service actually benefits customers, you have an obligation to push it. Yeah, like I say that all the time, that you have an obligation if it's a benefit. I think of it like this. With my kids, sometimes as a parent, you have to make decisions for them that benefit them long-term, even though short-term they don't understand or like it. If you want to be known as the guy who gets the job done, you have to be willing to be the bad guy once in a while. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't want to be the bad guy with a prospect, but I agree. You don't want to you can't take every sob story that comes to you and like adapt your marketing to it. So Philip says, Edward, email every relevant business and send them some free leads. Yeah, I suppose that could work. I feel like that would get ignored somewhat, so the success rate might be pretty low, but it's worth a shot. I've never done it that way. Jared says, do you run call tracking on the leads to show the owner? I think that's one model if you're doing lead gen more so than rank and rent. But yeah, you can definitely do call tracking, especially if you're doing lead generation. If you're doing lead generation as opposed to rank and rent, which are similar but different, then you kind of have to do something of that nature to prove, that you're worth your money or worth their money, I guess. Scott says, I'm on. Oh, awesome. Hopefully you caught that question and you can answer it. Thomas Todd says, finding low competition places to do lead gen for dentists and lawyers would be hard, but possible, I guess. What is doing well? Web design services are doing very, very well. I don't do crap for web design. Fortunately, I have the awesome Jim behind me, but I've actually gotten a couple of web design jobs too, and I don't try it at all. I don't advertise that I do it. It's just come up. Scott says, and Scott, by the way, is an expert in niche SEO and dental in particular. So whatever he says here, you should take seriously. I would not do the lead gen for dentists unless you are very well versed in dental. Scott, when you get a sec, could you elaborate on why you think that is? Maybe we'll bring Scott. Actually, we've been meaning to. We'll bring Scott on in sometime soon, whenever his schedule allows it, and we'll cover that kind of thing in general. But if you have anything you can further add, I think that would interest people. Aaron says, and thank you, Chris. Oh, no problem. Thank you, Aaron. Ahmed says, yeah, it's kind of weird. Web design requests have picked up so much in quarantine than before. I think most people are planning to go online now with physical businesses being shut down most of the day. Yeah, I guess that probably is the reason. I didn't even think of that, even though I guess I probably should have. Philip says, thanks. Or Edward says, Philip Marks, thanks, fam. Thank you. Interesting. Let's see. Patrick says, do you have a good call tracking software? There's lots of them. There's the two that I use in any of my businesses are for various things are CallFire and Twilio, but there's plenty of others that do well. CallRail I know is one, although I haven't used it, and some others. And I'm sure some other folks watching will have some input as well. So, all right. Instagram a little quiet today, but that's okay. I just cannot crack the Instagram code to save my life. I don't know what it is, but I'm very, very good, in my opinion, at social media marketing, and I cannot figure out Instagram. Philip says, thanks. Well, he smiles, which I assume is kind of the same thing as thanks. So, all right, been here for 28 minutes already. Let me grab some water. Hot topic today. Not the store where you buy like My Chemical Romance t-shirts, but this topic is hot. Woo. All right, guys, what else can we talk about today? Or do we want to keep going on rank and rent? What do you got for me? Hit me with your best shot. Jump jet, right? I think that was a lewd reference that I was too young to get at the time too, but anyhow. Also, just because there's nobody talking, the other night I heard the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song, and now 30 years later, it just occurred to me that when he said that this cab was rare, that he meant that it smelled bad. At least I'm pretty. Took me 30 years to crack that code. All right, everyone seems to have quieted up a little bit. Quieted up? Quieted down? Stop talking. So let's see if there's any over here that I'm missing on Facebook. Okay, Scott with some great value here. Scott, you're really adding value today. It's a little inside joke of ours. Scott says you only have one chance to make a first impression with the dental office, especially because they get a deluge of marketers calling them. If you use a non-dental term and they can tell you are not familiar with dentistry, you're done at that point. Ooh. Number two, you are more than likely not going to get past the gatekeeper to make an appointment with the practice manager and or doctor. You are going to be adding additional work to an already stressed front desk. That's awesome. That's great feedback. Scott dropping bombs. There's a lot more to it. So first of all, everyone who's watching, do me a favor and thank Scott, because that was really, really valuable. And I think we can all agree that we need to get Scott on here sometime soon. So I'll talk to him once we get off, once the stream ends, and see when we can get him on, because I think that's a great topic that I know we've talked about it a little bit before, but I think a lot of people would benefit from that, including me, because when there's somebody on, there's less for me to have to do. So there's it. Scott says value adder, laugh out loud. Philip says, I suggested dentists because they're a high ticket business. No, I totally get where you're coming from. You want somebody that gets a high ROI from a single lead. And it's just the dentists get assaulted by marketers and SEOs. But you're absolutely right. And you're thinking that you want somebody where only a handful of leads leads to a huge ROI to them, because then you can justify your costs really easily. So you pay me $1,000 a month, I get you one client that pays for itself pays for me for a year or whatever, So you're exactly right on that. That's what I always tell people when they ask me what niche to go for. Like there's some magic list of niches, And I know I'm driving the British folks crazy by saying niche, not niche, which actually is correct. So a part of my Americanism, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the thing to look for, is not necessarily high ticket, but high ROI from a single lead. That way you don't have to generate a lot in order to make it worth their time, and it makes your sales pitch much easier. Thomas Slav says, I would like mold removal lead gen. I kind of know that niche pretty well. There you go. I definitely say go for it, Jared says, I just found you looking for other options to make money online. I'm not only the thing going on, but declining health was just diagnosed with narcolepsy. I'm not sure what I'll be able to handle. Well, first of all, I'm sorry that you're having to deal with that situation. I know someone else that has that same issue, so sorry. It depends on what your skills are. I feel like I'm saying this because it benefits me, but I think freelancing is the best thing to get into, because you can tailor it to whatever it is that you know how to do already. Whether you know how to do logos, whether you know how to do SEO, whether you know how to do, there's literally a need for everything that everybody knows how to do. That would be my first piece of advice. After that, I guess the next easiest, I'm trying to figure out, adapt it to your situation. I think the next easiest would probably be a client SEO, because it doesn't take a long time to sell someone, and you can do the SEO itself at whatever time fits your schedule, whether, depending on when it affects you. So I would start with one of those two. But first of all, like I said, congratulations to you for putting in the effort and doing the research. And that's what I would advise. And I'm sure that Jim will come along and advise something as well. Philip says, Tomislav, me too. Awesome. I've never really done too much with mold removal. I did once have a guy message me on Instagram that was a mold removal company, who gave me all kinds of crap for having pictures of myself on my Instagram, said that it was unprofessional. So there's that. Maya, hello Maya, always a pleasure. Says, hey Chris, have you ever used Yoast Local SEO plugin for local SEO? A client of mine insists on using it, but it's not one of my methods for ranking locally. No, I use the standard Yoast plugin sometimes, but no, I don't use Yoast Local at all. And I don't know anybody that uses it either. So I don't know if that's a battle worth fighting, but yeah. Please, that's random, but he says new Rams uniforms suck. I'm not a big football guy. At least I know it's a football team, but okay. Sucks for the Rams. Removals is highly cyclical. Everyone moves house in the summer. That makes sense. See, that's why I think it's wise to be like Scott and apparently like Philip and Tomislav, to be really involved in a niche, because you know that those little ins and outs of it, And I used to work heavily with wedding photographers, which is ironic given my history in that area. But yeah, I agree. I think it's good to know those little ins and outs like that. Jim says, Jared Cox, again, there you go, If you can join us at 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday, and we'll help you figure it out. There is a market for everyone. Yeah, I totally agree with Jim. That's a great idea. Let me drop that link in the chat here. It's the thing that Jim and I do, I guess, bi-weekly, give or take. Looks like it's going to be a long one too, because we have got a lot of submissions of profiles to look at, which is good. There's no bigger thing you can do in business to help yourself than to help others. I know that sounds woo-woo, but it's proven itself time and time and time again. Simo says, I don't see much jobs posted on Legiit. Maybe people don't know about it or something. That feature is only it's maybe a month, maybe less old. And I do think it's taking some training to get people used to it. So you're right. It hasn't taken off as quickly as I would have hoped, especially considering how long people were asking for it. But I think it will catch on in time. So you're right. It doesn't, but it'll get there. And we'll of course adapt it based on data and to make it more prevalent as well. Now Fall TV says, hey Chris, need your input please. I'm working on a local social network for medical students. Just cannot do any marketing or biz dev in my life if my life depended on it. Well, first of all, that sounds like a noble pursuit, especially given what they are likely walking into right now. I don't 100% know what you're asking for help on, but if you can give me some specific things that you need guidance on, I'd be happy to help you in any way I can. I really enjoy marketing and biz dev. So Chris says freelancehappyhour.com. Thanks, Chris. That cracked me up, I swear. Jim says, I believe in it ones, tens, hundreds, thousand, 100,000% and not woo-woo. I've always found the most success, not trying to be successful, but trying to actually help other people, so, as have I. So I agree. You know, call it the secret, call it karma, call it coincidence, whatever is the case. It's happened too many times to too many successful people for it to not be true. All right, let's grab some water. I slept in this really weird position where I woke up in my like this, like doing that thing that Gen Z kids do. I don't know what it's called because I'm old, but like so now I have this like massive cramp or whatever in here all day. It's been very aggravating. These are the problems I have. It's a tough life. And we are caught up on questions. What else can we get into today, guys? I'm excited today. I'm going to see my mom in a little while. And yeah. Tried sharing the Legiit link to a friend through Messenger and was flagged by Facebook. Interesting. I haven't heard any other reports of that. Let me try something here. Was it an affiliate link, Hector? Maybe it was just that one. Let me see what's going on. I'm not getting an error right now. Hopefully it was just a random thing. Let me try one other thing. I'm trying affiliate link as well, but hopefully it was just Facebook kind of thing. All right, it seems to be working okay at the moment, but we'll keep an eye on that for shiz. Michael, haven't seen Michael in a while. He says, I'm going to start doing my own citations for my business and was wondering if there is a list of the best ones to do. Nas Yext, or there is, I would just Google it and find it there, or ask in the group, like a main post in the group. I don't have it handy, but there are definitely lists out there. Jared says, thanks, Jim. I'll try doing that. Even if you can't make it live, dude, there'll be, you'll be able to watch it regardless. How many people do you think have a full-time income for freelancing in Legiit? I really have no way of knowing. I'm always afraid to ask that because I don't want to embarrass someone, but I know a lot of people. I can see what people have made, and in my opinion, it's more than enough to live off of. I don't know, though. Edward says, the dab. Laugh out loud. Thank you. Yes, the dab. You are now my official millennial consultant. Hey-o. I'm just teasing, buddy. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to think of. Nafwal says, well, all I've done is coding. That's it. Because of that, I've never had a product that took off. Same problem with Legiit. Oh, you mean like your service is on Legiit? I think his Legiit has definitely taken off. I mean, this might be a little bit much to cover in a session like this, but I guess the first thing to do is identify who, I guess you said medical students. I don't know, dude, if you can find me on Facebook, dude or dudette, I apologize, I don't know. And just message me, but I think that might be a little bit, make it a little bit easier to kind of help, because right now I'm having a hard time. You're putting me on the spot, basically, so I'd have to think about it. So, but I'd be happy to help out. And by the way, I've told that to a few people, and I know I haven't gone back to them yet. So I do apologize, and I am not ignoring you. I will get to them, but man, I just get a ton of messages. I know that sounds like an excuse, but it's not. I really do, and it's hard to keep up with them. I feel bad about that, but I'm doing my best, so bear with me. Wasla says, I'm pretty late. Apologies. Hope everyone is doing well. Damn it, Wassless. Now you made us wait all this time. All right, guys, now we can get started. Wassless is here. I'm screwing with you, buddy. Welcome aboard, as always. Simo says, Wassless, I've liked the video already. All right, awesome. Simo says, or Wassless says, Simo, good job. You did it quicker than me. That's what she said. Share your service at Nefwell, and I'll help give you some ideas. Yeah, definitely. Maybe I interpreted that wrong. I interpreted it as you didn't have a legit service because all you've done was coding. But yeah, dude, let us know. I mean, I keep saying dude. Yeah, let us know, and we'll be happy to look into it for you. So. Oh my God. Nafwal says, thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you, Nafwal. Wasla says, FS. And we are caught up again. Lots of attendance today. Rank and Rent really brings the heat. Nafwal is the friend I talked to you about last time, Chris. I hope you could help him out. Yeah, we'll do our best. Like, let us know, and we'll look into it. But maybe that was who you tagged in the group earlier as well. Yeah, we'll be happy to help as much as we possibly can. If it's a legit service, just share a link here. If it's more of a biz dev thing, then it's probably going to be a bit hard to pick apart on a stream like this. So, but you can always message me. Or Jim, or both of us. Yeah, so that's the dab thing is why I'm leaning like this, because it hurts to hold my head up right now. Several folks on Instagram, but they're all being shy today. All right, 45 minutes in. What else would you like to talk about today? Great stream, good attendance today, lots of interaction and engagement. Scott added value because Scott is a value adder. Really, that's just an inside joke of ours. Basically, that's what we call those people that they come into a Facebook group and they'll come up with these gigantic posts full of emojis that add value, but really they're trying to sell you something, but first providing value, and it's so obnoxious. And it's like the ClickFunnels group basically encouraged that and made it a thing. So that's what we call those folks. Jim says, I'm just happy I'm no longer being called a millennial. Oh, just because we're not calling you one right now doesn't mean that you're not one, buddy. Edward says, let's talk about how cool you are. We got 15 minutes left, dude. That won't eat up enough time. It's only going to take a second or two because I'm not cool. I'm a giant nerd. Craig says, Chris, would you be available on Friday morning for a consultation, or we can discuss via email if you wish? Yeah, dude, whenever. Actually, yeah, I think so. Basically, when you go through the service, I send you a link to my calendar, and you just book whatever time works for you. So, yeah. Dante says, shout out to you, Chris. Always taking the time to answer my quick questions on Legiit. Appreciate the input and you being an amazing resource and service provider. Thank you, Dante. I really appreciate that. I make a point to answer our questions. First of all, Georgie, who runs my Legiit account, answers as many of them as he can. And then whatever he doesn't know how to answer or isn't sure or that sort of thing, sends me a list every 24 hours. Or once a day. So I make sure that I answer every question within 24 hours whenever possible. So I appreciate that. I think that's my obligation to you, is that if you have given me the consideration of considering me and using my platform, the least I can do is be as helpful to you as I possibly can. So thank you for the kind words and for your business. It says, web developers, are you getting lots of requests for e-commerce/WooCommerce? Jim, that's a great question for you. Maya says, SEO is my second career, but it's the first career that makes me feel like there's a need for my skills and I can really help small business owners with local SEO. This feeling keeps me motivated. That's beautiful. And I totally agree. I believe that service is all of our obligation. And I've had 3 careers now too. 3, 4, depending on how you want to look at it. And I've had 2 where I felt like I was actually being valuable to society. And this one has given me the most opportunity to provide that value. So I completely agree and understand that. Patrick says, what about a monthly service posting to Google My Business with geotagged photos and 100-word SEO keyword focused posts? I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great service, and I'm a little annoyed at myself that I hadn't thought of it, to be perfectly honest. What would be a great way to do that too? It would be Local Viking, which allows you to add all the GMBs that you're a manager of right into one dashboard and then post both geotagged photos and Google posts right from it. So you don't have to go through the hassle of logging into all of them. And you know how Google can get funny about you logging into different accounts. So I would do that, dude. Create that service, get a Local Viking account, and bam. I'm annoyed with myself right now. I'm not even gonna lie. Last list says, and these great streams every day. Oh, well, thank you for that. I really wish I'd have thought of this sooner. I'm not gonna lie. This has been so beneficial to so many people, including myself. I'm glad we're doing these, and I intend to do it for the foreseeable future. Charlene says, I say go for it, not from an experienced SEO person point of view, but from the point of view of someone who has experimented with service and the experiment turned into a great revenue stream. Perfect. I'm not sure exactly who you were referring to, but that's great advice for anyone that's considering offering any type of service. So yes. Jim says, not so much for e-commerce specifically. It's mostly been people who just need general web dev work, small fixes, page additions, redesigns, etc. I think it's mostly people who finally realize that you do need an online presence, even if you have a physical one. Yeah, and I know a lot of people like that I've been in business for 500 years and I've never had a website, so I don't need one. I think that those people are either giving into reality or they're retiring or whatever, but I think that there's a lot of those folks that are finally getting websites. Don't forget imagemeta.io. Yeah, if you're just going to do geotagging, that's all you need right there, imagemeta.io. Charlene says, anyone on Legiit or associated Legiit with experience with a member? I'll be adding it to a site in a month and would rather have someone else do it. I don't know specifically, but that sounds like a membership site builder plugin type thing. And I would imagine that Jim knows it, but we'll see. Jim says, Patrick, I would hire you on the spot for like 3 of them. So there you go, Patrick. You have that service up by tomorrow, and you'll probably already have yourself a customer. Who is the name of the GMB management thing you just mentioned? Local Viking. Let me drop a link to it. I did a webinar with them a while back. It's a great tool, and they're good people that really have a great piece of software there. Let me make sure that link still works. Now, where'd it go? Can't even find my own post. All right. Now what? Come on, fam. Where'd it go? Yeah, just go to superstarseo.live. And that's the tool that I'm talking about. Thank you, Chris. It's weird that I do that, isn't it? Talk out to myself. Yeah, let's just go to, it's called Local Viking. You can just go to superstarseo.live and check it out. Jim says, at Charlene, I have a ton of experience with it. Let me know if you need help. Well, there you go. Connection is made. Yay, I will message you to chat about it. Perfect. Love seeing people having a need and finding the person that can fulfill it. It's kind of like my whole life, really. Simo says people started to notice how important online presence is to their business. Yeah, it only took what? I've had the internet since 1994. God, I'm old. 94, 04, 14, 26 years. Philip says, thanks, Jim. Wasla says, I never understand how people want to run their whole business without a website. I don't either, because it's like, if you're really cheap, you can get it done for free, at least a respectable looking website. You know, it blows my mind. Patrick says, I am it. I don't get that. I will work on it. I will see if I can figure out how to post it on GMB. Awesome. Wasla says, were there 2 streams yesterday? No. Simo says, if a business doesn't evolve and adapt to its time, it will surely fall down, and it happened to many businesses. Yeah, like Toys R Us is my favorite example. When I used to be able to go to the gym, you know, pre-apocalypse, I would drive past an abandoned Toys R Us every day to get there. And every time it makes me think of it, you know. Chaz and Mark own and operate another tool, Perfect Rank and Rent. I totally forgot about it until now. Cool. Simo says, Aldwan, very true. Simo Aldwan. Okay, gotcha. Very true. All right, purchase one-on-one consulting services. I'll book the call once the calendar is sent. Super excited. Awesome, Greg. I'm looking forward to speaking with you, man. That's fun. This is probably my favorite thing in all of my businesses is the consulting. So I'm glad to work with someone and talk with someone that I know will benefit from it and take the action from it. So yes. Nafwal says, Jim, so you think there's a chance for web dev, like for e-commerce store from scratch, Django, React, etc.? First of all, there's a chance for every service, regardless of what it is. So yes. And I'll see what Jim wants to add to that as well. But yeah, e-commerce, we're getting a lot more e-commerce stuff. In fact, we're going to have an e-commerce category pretty soon. So yes, definitely think so. Waslis says, yeah, I think it's time to work on my web dev skills. No better time than the present. Maya says, but Google is rejecting posts at the moment. Oh, that's true. I published one via Local Viking yesterday, one today manually, and then they got removed. Why now when the worst of COVID-19 is behind us? I'm assuming that's rhetorical. But yeah, I know. I didn't understand that in the first place anyway, because like they need that kind of stuff more now than ever. But yeah, but it's still a great idea, I think, and I'm still pissed that I didn't think of it. Wassa says, on my suggested, it says there was one 12 hours ago, but I'm sure there was one yesterday or earlier stream. I don't know what to tell you. I know I only did one, so. You're probably thinking, what's probably doing is showing you the one we have scheduled for Friday. Now, follow, there's a chance for we don't use the G word around here, CMO. There's a chance for every service you think of, just post it. Yeah, I agree. Jim says, yes, and he's talking about e-commerce here. Yes, there is absolutely. I can think of a client who contacted me a couple of days ago looking for someone. Let's make it happen. Boom, get it done. Little Star Trek reference there for some of you. Wassel says at CMO, yeah, that can be a great skill. I don't really know too much about web design, web dev. I can just make basic websites, blogs with WordPress, which is pretty easy. Yeah, that's about all I can do too, which is a good comment on our college system because I have a degree in computer technology and a degree in information technology and took programming and web design classes in all of them, and I couldn't make anything without WordPress to save my life. So anyhow, that's a topic for another day. Simo says, Wassless, building a website from scratch is very, very hard to master. It's kind of like poker, I would say. It's like a minute to learn, a lifetime to master. Of course, poker is probably going to be extinct after this, but that's a different topic. I'm going to go ahead and Instagram. Jim says, I have never taken a programming course in my life. So yeah, good point on that. I was actually very good at it when I was in college, but I didn't get a job right away. And then it's not like riding a bike at all. Like you have to hone and continue to work on that skill, So yeah, now I doubt I could do I could probably do Hello World in like C# or C++ or a Visual Basic 6 because that's in demand. But yeah. I mean, I can do. I'm exaggerating to some extent. I can do some basic PHP and HTML and things like that, but it's definitely not me. Somewhere along the line, I became more of a. I wouldn't call myself an extrovert by any means, but I became a lot less of an introvert and more of a. Jim's going to call me a people person now, but I became less of the type of personality that can do that sort of thing. Wassel says, Simo, I think it depends on what sort of website. Like a basic blog is pretty simple, but anything else is usually a lot harder. I mean, stuff like Elementor has made it a lot easier, but yeah, you're right. It is still a skill and something that's not that easy to poop out a website. Simo says, Nafal is a god in that. We've studied together in school. And he showed me some of the stuff he makes. The man is great. I think he's got a chance on Legiit since there are few people who offer such services. Awesome. Ambivert, when you're a bit of both. Awesome. That makes sense. I guess that's probably true of me, actually. It also sounds like a sleeping pill. Jim says, I have you trained well. Yeah, you wish. All right, guys, we've been here for 59 minutes, but there's still 30 people on, so we can keep going if there is still interest. If not, we can wrap it up. Nathaniel says that he's blushing because of the compliment that Simo gave him. Wassless says, yeah, he sounds good, so he can probably make some sales with a bit of getting himself out there. Yeah, I agree. That's kind of the formula for success, right? Be good at something and tell people about it. That could be a whole blog post. I'm going to steal that. Steal it as my own idea. I'm not stealing it, but be good at something and tell people about it. That's kind of the keys to success, I think. Maya says, okay, bye, guys. Thanks for the chat. Thank you, Maya. Always a pleasure. Hope to see you again soon. Matthew says, thank you for your time, getting some useful ideas and need to get out Legiit. Awesome. Awesome. That's what we're here for. Nafal, or Jim says, Nafal, definitely share some stuff. I have a client I can send you right off the bat. Boom. There you go. Hoping everyone's success. All right. It sounds like everybody's ready to call it a day, and I'm getting a little tired. I'm not going to lie. These are surprisingly tiring, which I guess does prove that I'm not a complete extrovert, because I would feed off of it if it wasn't. Philip asks, web designers, where do you learn UI/UX? Jim, what's your take on that? How would you go about learning that if you were a fresh-faced millennial as opposed to an experienced millennial like you are? Wassless says, and add consistency to that formula too. Doing something a couple of days will often not lead too far, but when you do it for years, you can really go far. Yeah, I've actually been talking a lot about routine and that sort of thing in the Profit Academy lately. So Matthew says, check out, not get out. I think I knew what you meant, but definitely check out Legiit. Get more stuff done. That's our motto. Just waiting on a couple more things, and then we'll probably wrap it up. Simo says, I can design the UI, but I can't code it. I use Photoshop to put the layout together. Actually, Simo, that reminds me. It gives me a good chance to show Legiit on the screen, which I haven't in this entire live stream. We actually added a new category today that might be a good fit for what you just said. And this was at the request of one of our freelancers. So if you go under graphics and design, you can come down here to web and mobile design. So this is for like UI and UX design. And this freelancer asked us to add it, and we thought it was a good idea because he designs UI for mobile apps. But if you can do great, like you say, UI design, go ahead and list a service under this category. So that way you have a good chance at being like the guy for that. And it's just a category that was needed. So graphics and design, web and mobile design. Go ahead and I would go ahead and list your service on that right now. So you could probably charge a pretty penny for that sort of thing too. Jim says, at Philip, I would say practice. There's plenty of reading and training, etc. I love how you put the two I's in training, but nothing will replace consistently practicing and trying to improve and push the limits every day. That was going to be my answer too, to more or less, is that it's more of a just doing it kind of thing, I would think that one of the frustrating things about UI and UX improvement is that it's never going to, there are certain elements that are consistent across everything, but I would think it's very different for every like niche and site and situation too. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't think that I am. So I would think that was one of the harder things to do, is basically you're going to have to do a lot of testing and trying things to see what works too. And you can use tools like Hotjar, to like track what's working and what's not working and adjust based on that too. We made a couple simple tweaks on Legiit a few weeks ago that literally like 500% increased our conversions overnight. So Simo says, I'm going to work on a service for that for sure. A service is going to be dropped tonight. Oh snap. It's on. Other things that make me sound old. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Wassel says, I totally agree with Jim. I think that applies to most skills. Yeah, I do too. Thanks for attending today, guys. I hope I didn't piss anybody off with the clickbait, although it's totally true. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope I'll see you again tomorrow, and then again on Friday when Jim will be joining us. And yeah, guys, this is so much fun. I really appreciate you hanging out with me and doing these together. We'll do it again tomorrow. Thanks for everything. Figure out what you want out of life and go out and get it, because you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world. Peace.